So, we'd like to get this party started. I'd like to convene this meeting of the Engineering Committee for the San Lorenzo Valley Water District for April 16th, 15th, 2026. Leah, would you take roll, please?
Bob Russ,
Here.
Mark Smalley,
Here.
Greg Rao,
Here.
Francis Cleveland,
Here.
and Bill Grace.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. It looks like we have two items on the agenda today. I don't see anybody from the public attending remotely. Nobody else from the public here. So I think we can move on from oral communications and start with the first item.
All right, so the first item before the engineering committee today is the water leak detection contracting frequency. So we've included in the memo the last three leak detection reports that the district has completed. The last report was completed in 2023. The process for the report is the company comes out with sound detection equipment and walks the pipelines and listens for anomalies. I saw in one of the reports they walked 180 miles of our pipes. Yeah. My understanding is we have 190 miles of total pipes, and they make indications of where they're finding anomalies. And then after they're done with the broad sounding, they go in and try and pinpoint actual leaks. And this is, in all the reports I've reviewed, this is a smaller number than the anomalies. You know, maybe they're picking up sound from some other issue. Maybe it's traffic, maybe it's a different utility, or maybe it's just noise. And so the pinpointing actually gets to specific locations and a detailed report. They estimate the amount of water that's leaking at that pinpoint location, and that gets translated into a total amount of water that would have been lost over a year. And so those little factoids are presented in the report. The reports cost around $20,000 each. Before 2023, we had done a leak detection report in 2021. So that would have been a 2-year interval. And then before that, we had done a leak detection report in 2018. That would be a 3-year interval. I went and searched to see if AWWA had a published recommendation for the frequency of doing these leak detection reports. I didn't see where they had that published, as it's a 5-year interval. Although we had discussed that that might be the case. I was not able to actually locate that. Were you able to locate that, Jensen?
I remember reading 5 years, but I'd have to pull it up again.
And so we wanted to bring this before the committee to discuss how often should we be doing these leak detection reports, and if 5 years is a good interval, the next one would be due in 2028. And with that, we can take any questions you have.
Okay. So the next one, are you saying the next one with 2023 being 2023 to 2028?
That'd be a 5-year interval.
Right, that's a 5-year interval.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. I've discussed, or I've had discussed in this engineering committee meeting years ago this, because in addition to these other two that Garrett was citing, the district has done these before. Sometimes it was every 3 years, sometimes it was every 5 years. And the discussion that we had at the time was, what is the right frequency? Is 5 years okay for a larger municipal area that has less aged pipes than we do. Is 2 years the right? So we tried to, as the committee then, we were trying to, particularly myself and the other board member, trying to get into well, what does it cost? What are we losing in their projections as far as water loss? How much does water loss cost? That's kind of where we got to. Maybe try it every 2 years. So we did that for what, from 21 to 23. But then I think since 23 with significant change in staff. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's fair.
That this 2 year that we were trying, that the committee was suggesting, and staff said, okay, that sounds reasonable, lapsed. So we're now at a 3 year. So that further background was prior to, except for Scott, all the rest of the staff that are here at the table.
Well, Scott was here before the Redwoods, right?
I said, yes, right. So he was here that long. Yeah. So with that premise, I wanted to open it up to questions. Francis?
Well, I guess getting into the cost issue, what were you able to do to actually mitigate the losses? Did you do anything after the last one? How much did it cost to do those? How much cost savings do you think you got? Because it's hard to calculate a cost saving of lost water. It just went back into the ground. Well, that's great for, agriculture or something. In other words, what was the ramifications of doing this study and then working on the results and doing something about it?
I'll start that. Well, after each of the reports, we listed the ones that are pinpoint for leaks, we repaired all of them. So, in 2018, there's 40, then 2021 went to 27, and 2023 went down to 11. So we see the frequency really went down over time. So I took those, and you took the estimated water loss that they provided, and I applied that to per acre foot, and I used a variable production cost for the cost of acre foot. So basically just electricity and chemical to make that water.
Okay.
And got an average. We're looking at about $382. So
Per acre foot?
per acre foot.
Per acre foot.
Per acre foot.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
But the metrics that they gave us was in million gallons.
yeah,
So make that translation for us, so I don't have to do that math also right here.
Gallons acre foot, right?
Yeah, acre foot to million gallon. And the engineers are pulling out their calculators and quickly, but I'm not, so. what-
325,000 gallons per acre foot, give or take.
Okay,
So 70 acre. This was after the fact the agenda was published. If I can just
right,
So-
right. No, I think you probably know that, Bruce, what that is. So if it's you said 350?
325,000 acre foot.
Right. So since they said million gallon,
Yeah,
that's what Garrett presented. What does a million gallon production cost us?
Well,
Roughly.
a million gallons is 3 acre feet.
Right, roughly, okay. So 350 by 3, is that?
yeah. So
Okay, so a little more than $1,000 a million gallon. Is that,
yes,
okay, ballpark,
yeah.
okay. 1,050, that range, somewhere like that. Okay,
So if you apply that the variable production cost
Mhm.
for like 2018 example, the yearly estimated savings from water loss we would have had would be $78,000 give or take. And the survey cost 25,000. So if you look at it that way, there's cost savings. It makes sense, and there's other losses too, to not just the cost of the variable, the production of
Mhm.
electricity and chemicals. There's possible damage to the infrastructure. There's
Right.
just the fact that we're losing water. And environmental impacts of that. So
Right. Yeah.
I think you look past just the estimated savings but there, and then it does fall off to 32,000 in 2021 and then 26,000 in 2023, just because the number of leaks that were found dropped off dramatically.
So we're
Okay.
almost breaking even.
Yeah, that's what it sounds
And
We're
why do you
almost
think that, the number of leaks found dropped off? Was it because you really did a good job in the 2-year cycle or 2 to 3 year cycle?
Yeah, I think beginning around that time, there was a 2018, it was a little more thorough. The leak detection was a little more thorough. And we, Scott probably remembers a little bit better, but the company we hired, we were pretty happy with. And we continue to hire them, and
Okay,
we found it was pretty successful.
so it seems to pay for itself. to
It
do
does, and
I was
this is just a
wondering,
year.
how do
This
they
is-
tell
so the
people
Okay.
using it? How do they tell that's not a leak?
But it makes a has a frequency to it.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
it hisses or whatever. But yeah, they do it at nighttime. So it's 2 guys from the district that are walking with the other guy. They work overnight. So it does take, some staff time.
Right. Because you can hear water leaking from pipe.
Mhm.
Air leaking from pipe, I learned during a leak detection survey that I had, is a screaming loud one.
Whistles more.
Right.
Whistle.
Yeah. So the guy that was doing it for me put air in that fire hydrant. I'll hear that much better. Okay. And it worked. Okay. So,
Yeah.
More
It
questions?
seems to pay for itself. Now, how
It's-
often is not clear, but
That's,
the 2
Yeah.
to 3 years seems to
Jesse?
pay for itself.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, based on, applying this acre foot cost or, putting into millions. I think doing it every 2 years in the beginning was a good idea.
Mhm.
I think now more somewhere between 3 to 5 years would probably be ideal. Where we fall there, it's either we do it now, which is not in the budget, but we can make some changes, or we wait a couple years and work it into the budget.
okay. I want to go through the math, further on that, is it every 2 years, is it every, but why don't I let the rest of the committee
But
members?
there's diminishing returns at this point. And we can see some of that, so.
Yes, right. So,
Oh, I just have some questions that would be more of a background kind of thing. I've actually participated in finding leaks overnight. I have worked overnight with the municipal water district to locate pinpoint leaks. And the reason you do it at night is because most people are asleep and not using water. And so the sounds you're detecting are from leaks primarily. So question one was, it sounds to me like you're pretty happy with the quality of the reports that the contractor is providing you. And I'm wondering how you measure quality. Because what they come up with becomes a punch list of action items for your follow-up. So
Yeah, I think that's just it, is they basically provide you a list of leaks to go fix. And that's, that's kind of how I would measure it, is how much water they're finding for loss. I wasn't in my position when we were hiring this company. I was, in a different department, just observing and watching the whole thing go down. They seemed like they're a really reliable company. They followed through what they said they were going to do. And the biggest thing is they found leaks at the end of the day.
you could prioritize your actions based upon the magnitude of leaks.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
another thing they did. They broke it down on, I think they classified them in class 1, 2, and 3, larger leaks to smaller leaks too. So
I think it's really encouraging that the number of identified leaks seems to be going down.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, what is the root cause, or what are like the top 3 or 4 root causes for leaks? And are they avoidable? Can they be anticipated? Is it just roll with it, or?
it'd be pretty hard to anticipate them unless you had some type of surge in pressure, or like a large earthquake or something. You
Mhm.
probably suspect some leaks. I would say, just the age of the mains, deterioration over time, and how the chemistry of the soil and the material of the pipe, how it reacts over time. How high our pressure is in the system. If we have a really high spike of pressure, that a lot of times creates leaks.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 biggest. Third one, though.
Undersized
Undersized. Yeah.
velocities.
Yeah.
but,
Galvanized and steel.
but I do want to, the frequent or the magnitude of leaks being detected is going down. But is that related more to the frequency of the testing that we're doing. If we let this age piping go for 5 years, exactly, it's gonna, I don't know,
Could,
I
it
don't.
could. It's
well,
hard to tell. but
We
yeah,
don't
it
have
could.
enough, I don't think we have enough data to be able to say our system is getting better overall out there because the only thing I could explain is we're putting more new pipe in the ground and we're reducing the leaks because we're putting more new pipe in the ground. I don't think that we're replacing it that much yet.
I think we've ramped up over the last few years, but the
Right.
hope is
We
we're
have.
going to ramp up a lot more, and
Yes.
that will be a big reason.
So I think the frequency or the decreasing frequency that they're picking up is just the fact that we're doing it. We had done it for 2018. I believe it was on a 5-year period. 2021 was a 3-year period. 2023 was a 2-year period. So each of those are declining since the last one. And when you do that, you're letting more leak longer out there.
So is PG&E doing a better job of managing their broken neutrals or partially intact neutrals? Because I know AWWA reports, they had a report some years ago, number of pounds of steel pipe lost to electrolysis because of neutral return currents coming from the power grid. And if we have a grounded system, it's a 4-wire system in a lot of places here. And so generally speaking, as long as the PG&E neutrals are okay, they're bonded to our pipes. Those earth return currents should not be in the pipes, but in their wires. So if they're not doing a good job of keeping their system wired up, then we're going to be losing more metal pipe to electrolysis.
Good point.
Yeah.
I can't say either way.
I know. I'm putting that out there as like a
Right.
point of interest.
Yeah,
It's like, how do you lose metal pipe?
Yep.
Neutral
Yeah.
return currents in the distribution system.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
And what about the earthquake that we just had?
Well, we've had a few main breaks since then, but I wouldn't say the frequency has really gone up. It's been pretty average a lot since the earthquake.
Mhm.
So it's nothing that we can identify for sure was caused
Okay,
by the
you can't
earthquake.
see anything actually.
No, there was overall, there was really no damage that we could identify and really pinpoint to the earthquake.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Bob?
I found these reports fascinating. I thought, I mean, what can I say?
That's a true engineer, I think.
Yeah.
Finds leak detection
This
reports
was
fascinating.
Fascinating,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
And so just a couple observations. There were over the 3, and I appreciate you including all 3 of the previous reports. In total, it was about 100 individual leak reports that they gave details about. The vast majority were 1-inch galvanized and 2-inch steel that had the leaks. Only a few poly, and I thought, okay, that's very telling. And so this point about the neutrals, who knows? It could be accelerating it, but it also sort of argues for our longer term strategy of replacing all of these older pipes, right? And it also made me think about, and I don't know where we are, how detailed our GIS system is, but if the GIS system had, not only pipe lengths, age, type, all of that stuff, and then we pinpointed each one of these 100 leaks and any main leaks that we're catching, just to see, are there concentrations that are showing up or particular legs of pipe that are really vulnerable, and that would then be a priority maybe for putting it on our list to replace earlier rather than later. So just some thoughts about that. And then I appreciate, Jesse, the numbers for how much an acre foot costs us. My guess is it might be a little higher when you really put all in costs in there.
Yeah.
Right? Probably.
All in cost, yeah.
Yeah. Including marginal labor, just everything. because the numbers that all three reports had were astounding to me. You know, the first one was 100 million gallons of water was lost every year. And then we did it 2 years later. So we lost 200 million gallons of water. And then the next one was, I think, 30 or 30, no, it's 40 to 50 million gallons of water. And then the last one was, I think, 25 to 30 million gallons. And so those numbers really struck me. And even though the latest was only 11 leaks, some of them were pretty substantial and were rated class 1. In other words, you could have a sinkhole here, you might damage property, you might cause, flows, that kind of stuff. And so I'm thinking, and even applying your metrics, Jesse, implies that although we're paying, say, 20 to 25,000 for the report, we're losing on a cost basis 50 to 100,000 a year in water that we're just down the drain, so to speak. And that's not to think about what's the retail value.
Yeah, and that's really just production.
Just production,
That's just-
right? And it's not all in. So my guess is that it's a higher number when you really sit down and put everything in. So what occurred to me is I was thinking right now, until we really see this diminishing returns that Francis was referring to, this might be worth doing even every year until we actually see that the cost of the report is less than, or is more, I should say,
Is more
is
than
more than
we're losing.
we're losing in
Cost, we're losing it.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's really, from an economics point of view, is where you would make that trade-off.
I would say just one thing we got to remember is just be able to keep up with, doing it every year. You have the staff keep up with all these reports.
That's true, and that should be added as part of the extra
Right.
costs onto the report. That's a very good point.
But
A very good point.
it's, bottom line, it sounds like
Right.
we're close to being due for.
I think we are doing, yeah, because it's been 2.5, 3 years.
Right. Yeah, it's been 3 years now.
3 years, yeah. So,
But in addition to the staff being able to keep up with the reports, Scott's pointing out to us, they've got 2 staff out with them during is this 2 weeks?
yeah,
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
2 weeks that they're,
Yeah.
so their staff cost
right.
to get to identifying how many leaks do we have now at this point when they do that survey.
Yeah.
So there's costs there also that aren't pointed out to us here in these numbers. But I think even with the staff cost, it's still gonna net.
Still probably
It's still gonna net
gonna
out.
save us money. Yeah.
That it's gonna reduce water losses by doing this more frequently than every 5 years. And I can't say do it every 2 years now because we're past that point now.
Right.
So,
I mean, exactly. And
Right.
so it sounds like we should get on it and do it, and then we can consider, depending on what they find. If now we're only, 8 leaks after 3 years and 20 million gallons of, all right,
Right.
that's not bad. We're there. But my guess is that we're gonna have a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling these pipes fail on a statistical basis, just kind of there's an average of Poisson process, right? And they're gonna fail statistically by linear feet, so if we got 190 miles, they're gonna fail,
Yeah.
and so it would be interesting to do that. And then the question was asked, where are they occurring? And what I gleaned from it is that they are occurring a couple service connections, a number of valves, a few fire hydrants. Sometimes people hit a fire hydrant, and so they were leaning over and then leaking where they had gotten bent, right at the joint, that kind of stuff. And then galvanized and steel pipe. So it was really, really interesting. So anyway, appreciate the info.
okay.
So the issue, as I think it is, it's not budgeted for 2026, right? And it's still cost 20K or
Probably
thereabouts.
cost, that was 3 years ago. I'm sure it didn't go down.
Probably 25.
So maybe it's 25, right? But no, it's
It sounds like
not budgeted, but
it's not budgeted, but doesn't sound like a huge expense compared to some of the other numbers we're
Yeah.
tossing around. It sounds
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we should recommend that this is the year we should start again.
Right. And I'm looking at the memo that you put together, Garrett, and there's no recommendation for the committee to come back with, here's what the committee's voting on or the rest of that. But the general sense that I'm getting here is the committee thinks do it this year, and go back to Jason, the board, to say, hey, committee thinks, if that's the way you want to phrase it.
I would say that
But-
you can make a motion. Can we make a motion even though staff doesn't have one in the,
I certainly can, if you didn't
Yeah.
recommend one. Then I'll make the motion that the engineering committee recommends that staff conduct a leak detection survey in 2026, similar to the past 3 that we've done, and then report results back to this committee later this year so that we could continue this discussion that we're having.
I would second that motion.
Okay?
Bob Russ,
Yes.
Mark Smalley,
Yes.
Greg Rao,
Yes.
Francis Cleveland,
Yes.
and Bill Grace.
Yes.
Okay, motion is passed.
Okay. All right. Moving on then. A topic that we have talked about before. Garrett?
yeah, so this is unfinished business. This is the Peavine Raw Water Pipeline. We discussed this at the last engineering committee meeting. And there were some questions that the committee had, and staff has compiled responses that are indicated in the packet. One of the questions was, what is the budget for the in-house labor? And the response was that we should expect to pay $750,000 for labor if the pipeline is completed in 6 months over 1 summer. And the district should expect to pay 1.5 million for labor if the pipeline is completed in 12 months over 2 summers. Another question from the committee was, what is the all-in cost projection? So the response, we have a rough breakdown that it includes a contingency. The all-in cost is 2.5 million. And this is to self-perform the work.
Is that 2 years?
That would assume 2 years of labor.
Okay.
Another question that the committee had was, what other helicopter lift services are available besides Fairlift's helicopter services? So staff has listed 3 additional helicopter services that could be contacted to see if they're willing to give us a proposal. Another question was, what percentage of the raw water does Peavine Creek supply for the district? The response is, in the 2015 Urban Water Management Plan, Peavine supplied 15% of the North System surface water. Another question, what is the schedule for construction of the Peavine Raw Water Pipeline? We're trying to get the material procured, including the equipment, an agreement with an area where we can have all this delivered that can have a helicopter lift and drop along the trail. And we want to get that done as soon as possible. We brought this last month, so we've already had a 1 month delay essentially in the schedule where we haven't been able to enter any contracts. We haven't been able to agendize this item for the board. So the response is, April and May 2026 for material procurement and staging. Construction could then start in May and through October for our 6-month construction period. And then see how far we get. And if we need another 6 months in the summer of 27 to complete the work. Another question was, are there any environmental restrictions or required mitigation measures, in particular for the helicopter lifts? And the response is, the district has hired a consultant to prepare the notice of exemption for the project. And kind of the common sense answer is if there's any environmental issues, there will be a delay, or we can try and abandon the impacted area and use the areas that are not impacted and just kind of improvise and overcome any obstacles. And the next question was, when will a site-specific safety plan be developed? So the district has contacted our insurance provider, Special District Risk Management Authority, and they are willing to provide the site-specific safety plan free of cost as a service, I guess, for having insurance with them.
Wow.
They've made an appointment for next Thursday to come out and walk the trail.
Mhm.
And he indicated, so that would be April 23rd. And he said he could have the site-specific safety plan done by May 7th, which is 2 weeks. Chris, did you want to talk to anything about the environmental restriction or required mitigation measures, in particular for helicopter lifts? Is there any additional information on that?
No, I'll just say nesting birds are kind of the concern.
Yep.
But I would say it's more so for some of these areas are going to need to be cleared so that the helicopters can drop the stuff there. So more so for the clearing of any trees than the helicopter lifts themselves, is where our focus would be.
Okay, I have a lot of questions about that one, but I don't want to start with the questions and
Well, it's okay.
bias the committee, but go ahead with whatever else you're talking about.
I mean, that was basically
Okay.
the gist of what we wanted to talk about. I would say that I've reached out to a pipe supplier, and they provided me a quote on April 9th that expired on April 11th. They indicated that they could have the pipe delivered to the Crest Tree Ranch location in 3 to 4 weeks, provided we are willing to spend the exact amount of the invoice. I believe it was over $98,000. It was, down to the penny. So that's the kind
I'm
of
sorry,
time.
what was that timing? I missed. I was trying to write it down.
Yeah, so it's 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay,
for
3 to
delivery.
4 weeks lead time.
That would be for. Here, I'll pull it up real quick.
No, I'm good with 3 to 4 weeks. That's okay.
Yeah, but I could just give you a little more detail.
That's. I'm good. I'm good with 3 to 4 weeks. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so yeah, so basically we have a 2-day time period where we have to pay money
Yeah.
and sign the agreement.
Right.
This would include 6,200 feet of 8-inch
Right,
DR-30 2.5 pipe.
What you
Two
need in
of
the
the-
HDPE. Yeah.
Yeah, two
Okay.
of the fuser processor machines.
Right.
200 couplings,
Yeah.
640 feet of DR-11 pipe.
Right.
And so that comes out to $93,674.42. Now, I suspect if you don't execute the agreement by the time it expires in 2 days, they give you a new number, right? Down to
Yeah.
the penny of what it's going to cost. So what staff is really seeking is for the authority to be able to enter into these agreements as they arise.
Right.
Without having to agendize
Right. Okay.
an individual expense of $93,674.42.
You're when it goes to the board, I'm assuming you would be looking for looking for the board to give you a not to exceed amount or something like that.
Exactly.
Capping
looking-
it. Yeah.
And the not to exceed amount
Yeah.
is going to be in excess of the amount of money that we
Mhm.
actually need.
Yeah.
I
Understand.
wouldn't want to get authorized for $90,000.
No,
and
and
find
have
out
to
that
come
I'm
back because
short.
it's $12.
And I have to come back in
Yeah.
2 weeks to get that other $3,000. So the ask would be probably closer to
Yeah.
$120,000 for a $93,674.42
Yes.
expense.
Okay. So anything else you want to provide before the committee starts asking questions?
I would just say that, staff is really looking to get started. I understand that there's a lot of, heartburn and worry about, how we're going to be able to build this very difficult project.
Mhm.
And, I would say that the best way is to just get started by getting the material procurement going, and getting this material staged on the trail, and just keep taking incremental steps towards to the point where we can actually start fusing pipe together. I asked finance to indicate where are we on how much money we've spent so far, and it comes to over $370,000 that we've spent so far on this rehabilitation project, but we still haven't got a single piece of pipe or a single valve.
Right.
But we did get a 215-page report that was $248,500. And then we got a peer review of that 215-page report for $57,875.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
can keep spending
Yeah.
money planning pieces of paper with reports.
Right.
Or we can buy pipe, we can buy valves, we can make a deal with a helicopter company and have this stuff dropped on the trail.
Right.
And with that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, all right. We'll start at this end of the table. Bill?
No questions at this time.
Okay,
Having walked the trail,
Yeah.
Bob and I, we.
It was a piece of cake, right?
Yeah, right. Recommend
What a trail.
anybody try it.
and I don't believe then that Francis or Greg has walked it.
I
Okay.
wasn't.
Tell us
I don't
your
recommend
your impressions of it, Bill, because I want them to hear what.
Go ahead.
I find out, I was incredulous as to how they could even accomplish it, having seen it, but
Stuff.
they've done it before.
Yes,
It's not like it hasn't been done,
yes,
but it's awe-inspiring. It's very, very challenging.
right. And
And,
why is it challenging?
well, first of all, just the sheer footing, I mean, just to be walking around there
Yeah.
is a challenge. And then having the pipes dropped maybe, 75 to 150 feet away from where you want it
Right.
is going to be,
Mhm.
that's going to be a challenge.
Right.
And then having to couple these up and then
Yeah.
build the little stand, where you try to keep it level or off the ground and whatever. It's a big project, and if they can do it in one summer,
But the
Oh.
district did it
yeah,
once
Yeah,
before,
once
they did.
using a similar concept. The staff
they're
is
probably-
describing here.
Gonna have better equipment this time and more of it. So I
Yeah, I would think so.
I have confidence in.
And what I found, significant or challenging also was just the fact that it was steep side slope
Yeah,
and I'm walking this way across this steep slope.
exactly.
And at times difficult to maintain balance on
Not even that
on
wide.
the, on
a
the
lot of
trail
cases.
at times like this.
Places were only 12 inches wide.
That's right.
And if you slip, that was it. You're going down.
Yeah,
It's gonna hurt.
because it's steep enough on that downslope side. So yes, all of that is a challenge, but district's been there before and all of these staff have been out there and have walked it. So, okay. So no questions from Bill, but I did want to let you hear his impression.
Yeah,
He wants to walk it when it's done.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Bob?
I think it's a great engineering project and a good one to put under our belt. It's certainly, having walked it, it's like, wow, okay, I have some appreciation for the challenges.
Respect for those who are gonna be working on it, that's for sure.
Yeah. And, putting the pedestals that'll support the pipe, in some of the valleys and indentations that you come across. So I think it's great, and I certainly appreciate why you want to get started. The weather's good now, time to get going. Just a couple quick questions, and maybe Chris, you might have to answer these. I very much worry about bird nests. Given that like on the 5 mile, we've actually hired Harris to identify and all that kind of stuff. And I guess I have no previous experience or knowledge of if how soon can a proper biologist walk that trail and say, oh yeah, that's an issue, so that we can get that started. Because I'm really worried that this is kind of it could be the critical path and we don't even know it, right? And it could just delay. If they find bird nests every 1,000 feet, then we've wiped out half of our drop sites, right? And so I'm a little worried about that, and I guess would encourage you to, if possible, just get going on that to at least identify where might be some issues.
Do you need money for that?
Say it
For the
again.
biologist, do you need approved funds for that?
Well, maybe that's part of the.
We have funds for these nesting bird surveys. However, nesting bird surveys, you typically want to carry out in short order before the work actually starts. And so if we were to implement those now, it wouldn't really do much for us.
For reference, what would that cost to walk the 6,700 feet?
It's in our contract. I don't exactly know, but they did the same exact thing when we removed the hazardous trees along the pipeline. And I think they might have done it in like 3 segments, each like, I don't know, 4 to 8 hours. So whatever that cost came out to. Yeah, so I would say doing it now, probably not beneficial for us. But one thing that our consultant has recommended is, as Garrett mentioned, we have all of these different landing spots where we can drop pipe. And so if there is a nesting bird at one of the landing sites, we can adjust and just drop more pipe at another one. But what they have identified as a potential concern is that we only have one landing zone where they're going to pick up the pipe. And so if there's a bird there, that could be a potential concern. So they recommended just having a backup landing zone, which could be somewhere else along the entire grade.
Drop zone on
I
the
mean,
top.
yeah, like where the trucks are
Right.
dropping the pipe, where the
Right.
helicopter will pick it up.
Right, okay. So having an alternate one.
Exactly. That's basically what they recommended, because they said they've seen projects get
Right.
stalled before because that place has birds and then you can't pick it up. So I think
Okay.
that's really
Okay.
our path forward.
I'd like to add to that. I've seen on past projects, the bird nesting survey, is it 48 hours before work starts?
Yeah, optimally 48.
So 48 hours before you're gonna actually do the helicopter drop is when you gotta go out with the binoculars and look
Right.
for the birds.
Right, Okay.
Say you had a delay, you did the bird survey, you're not gonna start for another week.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? 48 hours before that next time, now you gotta go
Yeah.
back out again.
okay, all right.
So it could be even two different days of helicopter drops, just depending upon what's free and what's not. I mean,
My understanding is once you start the work, you
You can
don't
go.
have to do another survey. So they do it 48 hours prior to starting work, and
Okay.
now you're green light. Now you go.
okay.
So are these 11 drop zones ready,
And it's 15, right?
flattened, or 15?
15, yes.
15. Are they flat, clear, or do we have?
Clear, maybe.
I thought I heard something, we have to prepare them.
That's correct.
Okay, so we have to prepare them.
Yes.
What do we have to do before we can, what's preparing them?
So we're gonna cut down any hazardous trees in the vicinity.
Okay,
And so we would do a nesting bird survey prior to cutting the tree.
so how long does it take us to go? Have we done this hazard tree survey yet?
I would note that only, I think, 2 of the sites actually have trees that would need to be
Okay,
removed.
but have we looked at those
I believe
yet?
that those are,
So we did a nesting bird survey before the triple Cs came out and dropped all the
Right.
hazardous trees in 2023.
Right, okay,
And now we haven't done any surveys since then.
but do we need to do another
We will.
tree survey? Okay,
We will.
so we need to
Nesting
do
bird.
another tree survey.
nesting birds.
No.
No,
Do we need to go look at hazardous trees first?
So here's the order.
Right.
we'll send a biologist out to look at the spots where we're gonna drop trees.
Right.
48 hours before we're about to send
But-
guys out.
But do we know what trees? We need to
Yes.
cut down these 20
Yes.
trees.
So
So we know that already.
Exactly.
We
So
know the hazardous
operations
trees.
staff and engineering staff walked. We had
Okay.
identified 18 locations
Right.
for helicopter drops.
Yeah, okay.
And based on the feedback from the operations staff that's gonna
Yeah.
be performing the work.
Yeah.
We settled in on 15 as a final draft.
Right, okay,
And we identified trees that need to be dropped
okay.
for environmental to do their work.
And
Okay.
there's two drop sites have trees that need to be taken out.
I believe it was 2 or 3.
Two or
Yeah.
three.
Okay, so 2 or 3. Okay,
So-
whether it's 2 or 3.
Okay, yes.
So, but we're gonna need those 2 or 3 drop sites almost definitely. And unless there's some birds that are there forever, like the rest of the summer, we're gonna need them. Yes?
I mean, yes,
Yeah.
we would
Okay, so
ideally
you
have all
want
50.
those, you want those, yeah, you want those 3.
And I would
So,
note that when the CCC came through
Right.
before and we did all those nesting bird surveys,
right,
I think they identified maybe one nest along the entire pipeline.
one along the entire pipeline, okay,
It was,
so.
I think, later in the season. But
Right.
still.
But, so maybe the likelihood of the birds.
Being in those particular few trees is gonna be very low.
Is low, okay.
But we're still doing our due diligence.
But how long is it gonna take us to go remove these trees? Do we have who's cutting down trees? Do we have a tree cutting contract?
I believe staff can cut trees.
Yeah, we have
Yes,
some pretty
Cool.
handy guys with the chainsaws, yeah.
okay,
Won't be a
okay.
problem.
How
Yeah.
big is your chainsaw?
So,
Well, we're buying them new chainsaws. They better be able to use them.
so it doesn't sound like then we have necessarily a cost for the tree removals that you need to bring to the board, is it?
Correct.
So you can go cut trees.
Correct.
What's holding you up from going cutting trees?
Birds.
We got to do the bird ending survey.
Okay, do you need to come to staff to go do that bird survey to go get those trees down?
No.
No,
Okay.
but wouldn't you like to do the bird survey, cut the trees and then start dumping the pipe as
I
soon as
would.
possible? That way you don't have to have 2 bird surveys.
We have to do 2 bird surveys.
Yeah, you're
Well,
gonna,
I mean,
You're gonna
You're gonna have to-
you're gonna have to do
two
2.
surveys.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do 2. And I would not recommend, oh, we're gonna go cut trees tomorrow so that we can drop pipe there
No.
within 48 hours. No, you're cutting.
And the landings will be graded a little bit,
a
correct?
little bit, not
A
much.
little bit. Yeah.
Okay,
Not much.
so
Yeah.
what's holding you up from cutting down trees at these 3 sites?
The environmental, so because
So can you go do?
we're working on it.
Okay, so when are you gonna have this environmental done?
Yeah.
Don't tell me soon.
Okay.
Don't tell me soon, because Christmas is coming soon, right?
I don't have a date for you.
Okay, so it might not be in May?
No, I think it's
Okay,
in May. I think it's very soon.
I'm hoping end of April.
okay, very soon, okay. I'm gonna get rich very soon, I think. I'm sorry, Bob, do you have?
No, that was my line too. I just am worried that even though they're small bits of work, they could
Be done.
really, yeah, they could, as much of this as you can get done now, basically do it. I think,
Yes,
Jason's got the authority to authorize everything you've talked about. And so you just
well,
need-
I don't want,
Not the materials,
right, not the materials,
but environmental study, bird nesting study,
Yeah.
dropping some trees down.
yes,
You don't
Yeah.
need us. Yeah,
that's right, you don't need the
yeah,
board
you don't need the board.
for any of that, and
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is that's gotta happen before we can put pipe on the ground.
Yeah.
So,
And I know you're gonna have to spend some time prepping each of the 15 drop sites, cradles or something, because a lot of those, as Bill and I saw, are quite steep.
Yeah,
and need some help to make sure you don't get pipes rolling down the hillside.
yeah, I would expect probably a minimum of 2 weeks for our staff to clear all 15 sites.
Okay. So once the nesting's been verified and you cut those trees down, then I guess you can then immediately. If the nesting looks at all 15 sites, then you can immediately start prepping those sites, right?
Yes,
That's great. And so then if it's 3 or 4 weeks to get pipes shipped, assuming the board approves this tomorrow, right, then maybe that meets your needs.
I had a discussion with the general manager and I felt that it would be appropriate to wait for the engineering committee to give us guidance before we just take it straight to the board.
Okay. Oh, shoot.
That's why we brought it back.
Yeah, no, that's right, because the board had a lot of questions for you. So is this not coming back tomorrow?
It's
No, it's not.
It's not on the
Oh,
agenda for tomorrow.
So it could be on the agenda for May 7th.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So there's about a 2 week delay. If we have the confidence of the engineering committee,
Right.
where then we could take it to the board and hopefully the board would say, yes, we wanna get material, we wanna get this staging agreement with the ranch. We wanna have a helicopter agreement signed so we can have dates and start lining things up.
Okay, no, I understand. I was hoping that it would be even faster for you. But so May 7th.
right.
Let's see, and so the environmental study, I guess, Chris, that you were referring to, are you expecting, aside from bird nesting, that it would be negative declaration?
Yeah, it would be a NOE.
Okay.
But and the negative declaration, I expect is mitigated, which is then has some condition.
This is a NOE.
Oh, it is an NOE.
Exemption.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
exempted.
We're going back to the thing that was
Right.
existing.
It's an
Okay.
emergency
Okay.
project.
Yeah. This is-
So,
Okay.
but we do expect them to have the requirement that we have to do the bird survey.
Yeah, it's
yes.
so basically
Is-
exemptions.
Is there?
You kind of don't have to do this stuff, but
Right,
it's
right.
very strongly suggested and expected.
Okay.
Set
So-
practice.
Okay, it's best practice.
But you don't have to.
I don't want to say ask for forgiveness rather than permission of the agency that we would be. That's not how I don't recommend that either. For
Bite you in the end.
the water district. Yes.
No, that's good. Is there, in this process, and I just don't know how it works, are there opportunities for some unknown party to say, I object?
Yes.
Okay, so that is, I guess, a potential risk, and say, no, it's not an NOE. This is gonna greatly impact X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
And
so
so
there's a 35-day window after we file notice of exemption where anyone can file a basically protest.
Right.
Does
And
that mean
then-
we can do nothing during that 35 days? I
No,
mean,
we can start during the 35 days. We prefer to wait it out, but we can start during it. But if someone files a protest,
Right.
then we stop work.
Right.
And usually that would turn into a kind of lawsuit or court case of sorts.
Yeah, and then who knows, a year or two later.
Ooh, okay. Well,
Okay. So that means there's very little chance that you're gonna be doing heli drops in May.
We can start work as soon as the exemption is filed.
So you're saying that we can do the drops and they might sit there for a year or two.
We could do all the drops. We could start fusing pipe, and then someone might file a protest.
Well, that's your watershed, right? That's SLV's watershed.
it's SLV's
It is.
watershed,
It is.
but
But
what is?
Yeah.
Who would object?
Yeah, that's a
Are,
Great question.
are agencies likely to object?
Anyone.
No. First agencies, particularly Fish and Wildlife, are they likely to object?
No, no one is likely to object.
Okay, no one being agencies,
No one generally that I can
generally. Okay,
foresee.
the one thing that's going to be happening here are helicopters flying over. do any of the residents up there have concern for that week? No, is it week or day?
Hey,
A
1 or 2
day.
days, yeah.
It's
A
one
day.
day to fly in, and then if we need to bring in more material.
Right.
Or more equipment, then there would be a second
Second
day.
day. Okay, so
then
2 days
When
of
we fly
helicopter.
out the material would be
Right,
the third day
right.
or second day.
We already see PG&E helicopters flying around here all the time, I think, doing stuff to inspect
Yeah.
transmission lines and others, and so.
Yeah, but that doesn't keep people from objecting.
It
For
doesn't keep
instance,
them
if
from
they have
objecting,
horses that
correct.
get spooked
Right.
by the helicopter.
But if you see a helicopter flying, who do you call? The sheriff? I don't.
So when we flew the pipe, out of the CCU fire.
Right.
Boulder Creek was still evacuated,
Right,
so we could haul pipe up 236 and into the line treatment plant.
yeah,
When they land the pipe up at Crest Ranch, they'll be flying not over any residents, they'll be flying just over the mountain into the trail.
okay.
So, because you can't fly material over residential.
So the likelihood of
Okay.
residents objecting also pretty minimal. Okay, so I agree with Chris, the likelihood
Seems unlikely.
seems unlikely that we would get objections during that 30-day, 35-day public notice period.
It could take 35 days to get the pipe delivered to the
Yeah.
ranch.
Right, right.
3 to 4 weeks.
Right, it could be 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, okay,
And then once the pipe gets delivered.
Right.
We'll have to have staff up there breaking it into the 15 different piles
Right.
for the helicopter lift.
Right.
Right.
That's gonna take a week with
Right.
the grade all.
right, okay,
So
okay,
there's a couple steps before we actually get to flying.
right, agreed.
And my only other question, and I think and I appreciate you answering all of the questions that were raised. That's very helpful. And I really like the fact that you've added 25% contingency because stuff happens, as they say. My only other question is, we had spent some time talking about the grade all,
Yes.
which is and I don't know what it's now listed at, but it was like 150, 160,000 dollar new purchase. And I guess I would still have the same kind of overall question of, are you still looking to buy a new one, a used one, or is it more justified to rent for some period of
Yeah.
time until we really know we can use this thing in operations for, I would say, at least a couple months every year to make it worth it financially?
I would say based on the feedback from the last meeting, we're looking to rent a grade all
Okay,
at this time.
okay, good.
At some point, we do want to start acquiring equipment for a construction crew.
Yep.
So I can see us buying excavators, maybe
What?
a skid steer.
Different discussion, right, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
No,
But
that's great.
for now, the grade all,
Would be rented.
rent,
For the P-line project, it was determined after discussion,
Yeah,
that it would be
right.
hard for
okay,
the,
right,
get FEMA grant funding to pay for that specific
Okay.
to the P-line project.
okay,
Probably wouldn't happen.
Right, okay. That's great. I'm done. Thank you.
okay. Greg?
Yeah, just one quick follow-up. Since HDPE pipe is manufactured from petroleum products, and there's a lot of volatility in the price of petroleum raw materials these days. I'm just sensitized to the fact that the timing of getting a quote to the time when you'll be able to turn around and provide a purchase order, if there isn't some clause that's in the contract that says, hey, the manufacturer or the supplier holds the right of not maintaining a fixed price because of the cost of the goods being sold is subject to the volatility of petroleum in the world market today. So I'm just wondering how you're managing that.
I mean, my concern is the longer we wait, the higher the prices will get. And, as far as an individual quote, my understanding is, once we sign the contract for the 97,000 or whatever that number was that I read off to you, that's a locked in price that for pipe that's already been manufactured and is sitting in Sacramento somewhere, that now they're going to truck down to Santa Cruz and drop off at the ranch. And they're gonna make a profit on that too. They're not selling it to us at cost.
Right.
So.
So-
That's their risk, and that's why when
Yeah.
they give you these quotes, they're only good for 2 days
Yeah,
because of the volatility.
right.
Like
So
you gotta make it, you gotta move on it now, or guess what? You come back next week, the price is up.
That's why we need board approval to say, hey, in some amount not to exceed, so that you've got a little bit of wiggle room there to work with the next quote that they give you, then you get 2 days to act on it.
Yeah, and I would say that for all the expenses, there will be receipts for everything down to the penny, you know, and as far as, you know, what we're buying and quantities.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we're you know, we're gonna be audited, you know, there's nothing. You know, I'm trying to ask for a little bit more money, but you know, my goal is to spend as few amount of dollars as I can.
Right.
And to get this thing built as cheaply as possible. But still with high quality.
Right. Okay.
That's all.
Francis?
I have no further questions. I really would like to see it get going because I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
there will be glitches, but
Right.
I think that that's going to be in the process. So I would like to make sure that the engineering committee gets to hear about the glitches as well as well.
You mean
as
a
what-
lessons learned?
Yes, so there's a better word
Yes.
for it, isn't there?
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. So, an agenda item for either late this year or next year or, yeah. Okay. All right. I'm looking at the questions that I had posed before to make sure that I'm not missing anything because you've addressed a lot of them. All right. The environmental, it sounds like we're not going to be able to file the negative declaration in April, most likely.
I can't tell you that.
Most, well, do you think you're
Probably
going to,
be early May.
do you think you're going to get it next week? If the consultant had it ready by, so
I would say early
probably May, unlikely April, probably May.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can't go cut those trees and clear those 15 sites until May. Am I correct in?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't even begin clearing the sites, right? We had heard from you the last time, Garrett, that Fairlift wasn't available come June
So
because they had other commitments to PG&E.
so we had a teleconference call with the gentleman from Georgia, who
Mhm.
I assume is more of a business office guy, and then also the pilot
Mhm.
and his particular helicopter.
Mhm.
So the pilot and that particular helicopter had a contract
Right,
in June.
right, okay,
So there are other helicopter pilots and other helicopters
right, okay.
that we could get from Fairlifts. And then there's other companies that do helicopter deliveries.
So are you then saying from Fairlift only right now we're talking,
Okay.
that Fairlift could be available in June for us?
Yes, with a
if-
different helicopter and a different pilot.
Well, does a different helicopter work?
They all have different load capacities, how
Right,
much they
okay.
can carry.
Right.
So that'll affect how we break down
Right,
the
okay,
loads.
but forgetting about price right now, Fairlift could have a different helicopter and your preference is use them because they're PG&E's preferred helicopter company.
Yeah, and we
Okay.
used them last time. We used them after the
Okay.
CZU fire. That was the estimate that Rick
Right.
had put together.
Okay.
So I went.
Okay,
I used
So-
Rick's,
and the other helicopter companies, you gave us names,
yes,
but did you reach out to any, to maybe one or two of the other ones to say availability and cost?
I have not reached out to them for
Okay.
availability and cost.
Okay, I'm concerned about sole sourcing to one company. Not so much cost, but we need somebody here because this is our window that we're lining up. And if they have something out on another job or it can't happen, or I never like sole sourcing to a single vendor for, critical aspect of something. So I would encourage, get something from another company, because I think somebody else from the board might be asking you that question
Sure,
also.
no problem.
So, so that's on helicopter companies. Tell me the lead time, and that site safety plan. You said they're coming out to walk the area.
23rd.
23rd. Okay.
Next Thursday.
The two of the critical aspects that I'm seeing on this are, one, although the helicopter lifts and drops, that they're factoring that in, but also the last length of pipe that you already told us is on this significant, wherever the steepest downslope is for the pipe. And I thought that was right before it's coming into the plant.
It drops down to Foreman Creek. And so from Foreman Creek to the plant is another, was it 1,000 feet?
Yeah, 1,000 feet. We have existing high pressure line already installed there.
Right.
So that's essentially where we would tie in to existing line.
Okay. But I thought I was hearing something last time about most of it is at a 1%, except for, and that's why we're buying the higher density,
That's right.
the pipe. Okay. How are you holding this? Was it
It's a 45 degrees slope, actually a little greater than 45 degrees.
right, 45
Yeah.
degrees, and you're holding how much pipe? I want whoever's putting together the safety plan to be aware of what are the logistical constraints for that section also, rather than just this gentle grade walking down.
Okay.
And how much, and what's the weight of that string that you're putting out there? And when you are getting ready to put the last, because I'm guessing you're welding and lowering and welding and lowering and welding and lowering.
Right.
So the string is getting longer and more heavy and more heavy all the time down the rollers.
Well,
How are you holding it in place when you get ready to put that last fusion joint in?
yeah.
So however you're working that out, I want the safety consultant to also hear all of this, so that's part of
No, that's an excellent point.
the thinking of it.
Because the pipe, those bigger pipes, the 11 DR11, are about 200 pounds per pipe.
I believe there's 300.
300.
Okay, then
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
But we're less concerned about whether it's 305 versus 250, but I think you're understanding the point that I'm expressing with this long string down that steep slope.
Yes.
How are you going to put the next one, lower it? Is it 20-foot sections, 40-foot sections?
40 foot.
40.
Okay, 40-foot section, lower it
Yes.
40 feet. Stop.
So this will
Another,
be accomplished with winches
Right.
and cables.
right.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
some engineer has figured all of that out. That those number of winches are going to hold all of that, right, Garrett?
Yes.
Some engineers.
Yes.
Okay, great. Good.
Because
I think the winches are 12,000-pound winches.
Yeah.
You just have to find a good anchor for it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Trees.
plenty of trees, but okay.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say too is that I imagine a lot of the pipe will be on the ground, and it'll be a matter of keeping the tip of the pipe up
Mhm.
as it's progressing down the hillside.
Right.
It doesn't get caught on something.
Right. Okay.
But that pipe is going to want to, that's such a steep slope, it is going to want to slide. There's not enough friction to hold it.
There's going to be rigging
Yeah.
with the winches, and that's how we'll control it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And are there thrust bearings to hold that section of pipe every whatever number of feet? Has that been designed?
So I asked the operations if they thought it would be advantageous to have a roller support to help guide it down the hill.
Mhm.
They didn't think that was a
Necessary.
good idea.
Really? No,
Because you want the friction of the ground to hold it in place?
I guess, yeah, that was his take on it. I said we could make guides, so
Right.
they make these rollers,
Yeah.
top and bottom.
Yeah.
Like for going across a bridge,
Mhm.
you can have roller supports.
Mhm. Yeah.
This also allows the pipe to, in like a thermal expansion sense, it can move longitudinally if it gets hot or cold.
Mhm.
But he didn't think that was going to be a good idea to do that.
yeah, because of. Yeah, 1,000 feet of pipe, that's wow, 7,500 pounds.
Yeah, it's only 500 feet in length to get
You
down.
get down, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Fine.
So about maybe 4,000 pounds in a pipe is pulling down.
Okay.
Once you have it basically built out.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's obviously, and then fully loaded with water. I know the water adds another 1,000 pounds per pipe section. So you're looking at a few tens of thousands of pounds total loaded. So you certainly want to have designed pedestals for that section of pipe that it can really handle it. And I don't know if you were planning on vertical supports every pipe length or what.
Well, right now we're not planning on providing supports.
Just on the ground.
Just going to be on the ground,
Right.
and it'll be one long piece of pipe. I had a discussion with Rick, about our. So I included a detail actually in the packet. It's the Caltrans standard detail, D87A.
Right.
And it shows 2.5-inch pipes with points cut on the end, and you
Right.
pound these into the ground, and then you have a plate that goes around the 1.5-inch pipe, and it has 2 holes for some bolts. You put a clamp on the pipe, and that bolts to the plate, and that's held in place by the 1.5-inch pipe. We've installed this at several locations. The Lompico Intertie uses this detail where we go from Ziani Drive to Lake Boulevard, cross country up this hill.
Is it similar slope?
No, it's not as bad.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw the detail and that makes sense for, just standard slopes and support on a hillside, but I'm just thinking, and I don't know if we have to grade that slope first.
I don't.
Because it's a mess right now.
Yeah, I don't imagine there's going to be workers actually going down the grade. I imagine all their work's going to be at the top.
Well, right now that grade, as I recall, when you showed it to us, it's full of fallen trees and shrubs and all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff.
It's a
So
mess.
you almost have to, what's it called, grub it. So you only have soil that you can then put the pipe onto. And how do you grub something like that? I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to grub it. I think they're just, the pipe's just going to go down the hill where it ends up.
Yeah, but that means it's literally sitting on bushes and logs
on
and
bushes,
fallen
yes.
stuff, which means there'll be sections unsupported and it'll want to roll. And I would worry about that because
So I talked with Rick about our pipe supports. He had concerns about us having too much restraint on the pipe.
right,
He said that what they had done was, so as far as the thermal expansion
right,
issue, he said what they would do is they would run an S shape between supports. That way, on a cold day, it could contract.
Right.
On a hot day, he said sometimes it would flop down the hillside, and they would have to go out with pummel-longs and winch it back up.
Wow.
I did some calculations for the thermal expansion actually after the last committee meeting, and so it's a function of
The coefficient.
the coefficient, yes, but also the length between where it's restrained, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
So if you have a restraint, say 100 feet apart, and then you have that same pipe with restraints at 10 feet apart, you might expect 10 times the expansion because it's over 100 feet rather than over 10 feet. And so looking at a thermal change of 80 degrees, say on a cold day, it's 20 degrees, on a hot day, it's 100 degrees. And with a 10-foot spacing, I was getting that I would need about 6 to 8 inches of play in my supports.
For the full 6,700 feet?
No, this would be at 10 foot on center. So each support would be able to move about 8 inches. And so if you look at the detail, there's actually a plate, and what they have is they have a 3-inch slot for 1.5-inch pipe. And so that means that the plate can move 1.5 inches before it hits the pipe would hit the edge of it if it's centered when they install it.
Yeah.
And so what we would have to do, instead of having a plate that's 7.25 inches long, we'd have to get a plate that's like 16 inches long and have this really long groove. The other thing you can do is you can just not restrain the pipe, like is what they did in the 80s. They left it on the supports with extra material, and then it just moves when it gets hot and cold.
Yeah.
And so if we were doing an oil pipeline or something that was we were very concerned about if there was a leak or something bad happened,
right,
you would expect to see these supports the entire length of the pipe.
Yeah.
And then each connection would have its own slip joint. And that way, you could deal with it that way.
But if this water pipeline leaks, you go out and fix it.
Yeah,
That's
raw
what I've
water,
been told.
you go out and fix it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
And it's simpler to do the fixing rather than spend all of this money engineering and then supporting. Is that?
Yeah, we could make a very we do supports every 5 feet on center if we wanted to, all the way from the creek all the way down the 45-degree slope. That is possible. It's just going to cost more money. It's going to take more time and labor.
But it doesn't sound like
I wouldn't advocate for that.
Yeah, you're not advocating for that.
I would advocate for replacing kind the way it was built before.
Right.
And then as issues arise, you deal with them.
Okay.
The only thing I would add, Garrett, is normally for big projects there would be a design review, right?
Okay.
And this is kind of a design review.
Sure.
But and I don't know if you have any other engineers that you can sit down with and say, okay, I want to just go over, here's my thermal expansion and contraction calculations, here's how I'm planning and locations I'm planning on restraining the pipe. So those are fixed points.
Right.
And then my S curves can handle 6 inches or whatever. And so just to have someone double check you to say, okay, yeah, this is all good, because it would be a shame not to have taken a little extra time and maybe even hire a guy to just look over your shoulder, but to have done those calculations and especially for the steeper section. And then because a quick back of the envelope that I was thinking the whole 6,700 feet will move multiple feet. It might move 5 to 10 feet, and so you've got to handle 5 to 10 feet of
every time
horizontal, right?
Every time you do a calculation, you have to make an assumption. So you have to assume what is the delta in the temperature?
Right.
Is it the same for the whole 6,700 feet? Are there going to be portions that are in the shade or portions that are in direct sunlight? Maybe the portion in the direct sunlight,
but
you still have to make your assumptions, and then you tell the reviewer, here's my assumptions. Like 80 degrees, I think that's a good assumption.
And that's the part,
conservative.
Well, but that's the part of Bob's comment that I'm hearing. Are you considering going out to have a peer review done on this?
Staff's open to a peer review.
Right.
We haven't planned to do that.
I understand.
That's fine.
I understand. I don't think it would be a significant cost to have somebody.
And the other thing I would say, it might end up a situation like the Fryer and Loretta report, where best practices
and that's okay.
are very detailed and very
We don't want that.
rigorous.
Right, no, we don't want that.
No.
For this project in particular,
Yes.
it's
Yes,
a kind
You
of a
just want-
field fix.
You want someone who's experienced just to
That-
look at it and say, yeah, this is reasonable, this should work, or wow, how about this
have
right
you
here?
thought about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, staff's
Yeah.
open to that.
And they don't need to make a detailed report. I mean, literally just pointing it out to you and writing a paragraph saying,
Right.
look at this.
Or a one-page
Yeah, one
summary
page.
of,
A
here's
lot-
what I
A lot of
saw.
times what I've seen is the engineers kind of divorced from the cost of the project. And
Right.
they're really hyper focused on liability.
Yeah.
And for that reason, if they calculate that you need one bolt, they detail 2 bolts.
And that's why you don't even have to ask them for a wet signature.
Yeah.
You just want to get their professional, I mean, I'm
Give me a
serious.
review.
You
comments.
just want a professional, I mean,
Right.
I'm a PE, I can sign,
Yeah,
but you just want to get their professional
Right.
opinion about
Yeah.
your design and your calculations.
Yeah.
sure.
And somebody else other than your staff member who has a PE, because I think there might be a bit of a, not conflict, but
A bias.
he would, a bias. Yeah, he would tend to agree with you. But
I mean, I think Fryer and Loretto might be well suited since they did the constructability
I think
report,
that they might be good. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean, they're
That's
already
right.
familiar with the project.
they are.
There you
And,
go. Yeah.
and
Just say, I want a budget a day's
they-
worth, you know.
Yeah,
they've
just
done
look this
limited
over
time.
Yeah.
and give me some comments.
Right.
Let me know what you think.
yeah, and they've done pipeline engineering work for companies that I've been involved in, and I've seen their work on this, not specifically HDPE, but it was a gas line pipe. So yeah,
Okay,
they've done that kind of stuff before.
all right.
Okay. Now there was something, we're only at an hour and 20 minutes now, but there is a part of something that you said there, some of this that did raise a concern with me. The path isn't clear for this. And no, we weren't planning on clearing the path.
The downhill, you're talking about the slope.
Because there are trees down on it, there's plants, so I haven't walked this. I walked part of it 3 or 4 years ago, but only about half of it. I didn't walk this down slope. But
Well, and I didn't either.
I'm envisioning trees down at various points, and you're putting this pipe on top of these, a tree, and it's falling here and it's going.
Yeah.
And your pipe
It's
is
not
gonna,
bare soil, it's shrubs and.
yeah, and is the pipe doing this then to kind of,
I mean, I would say there's already an established path there a little bit.
right,
And if you can see the old ductile line, that still exists running
Right.
up that path. So
right.
we would take a similar path and
So, but are you putting it on the ground? Or are you putting it on? I haven't been there.
You gotta have a guy with a chainsaw or
Yeah.
big shears and just
Do you
clear,
need to
at least
clear
clear the shrubs and
trees
trees
out?
out, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's realistic.
but do you plan to do that then?
I think when the time comes, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I was just out there yesterday and I saw it, and I don't, I can see a clear path. Like I
Right.
can get on that trail and hike up to the P-vine from the
Right.
bottom part of it. So
Okay,
I see it's definitely doable.
Um,
Maybe it's 1 or 2 things we need to clear out of the way.
okay, so yeah, to
Yeah.
allow the pipe to either be on these supports that Gary's describing or on the ground, if that's, yeah.
What about trees that would fall on the pipe? Because just in this last earthquake, my road, which is
Right,
just a mile or so from the epicenter, has
I'll let
trees
you address
falling
it,
down
Garrett.
all over it.
Bring it
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, when trees
What
fall
I've
on the
heard.
pipe, we go out and cut the tree and
But
fix
on
the
the
pipe.
slope, on the 45 degree
Wherever it
slope.
happens.
Yeah.
Usually you would think on such a strong slope, the tree might kind of make its own way down.
right. But
And
what,
and apparently HDPE pipe it's so flexible that you take the weight off of it and it sort of springs back to where it was.
Yeah, exactly. We cut it off. We've had to winch it back into this place before.
Oh, okay.
Like we've had to go across a valley on like a bridge, basically.
Yeah.
Break it, cut off the tree, winch it back to the bridge. So
okay.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
we have a motion in front of us, but I think, or from my comfortability, has much more specificity in this than what than I, as a committee member here, to be comfortable recommending to the board. I think you should present this to the board,
Oh, okay,
seeking approval.
sure.
So seeking approval. So I'm gonna modify this somewhat. So I move that the engineering committee recommends that staff present this Keyvine procurement construction project to the board with all of the cost information as part of it for the board to review and approve.
Okay.
Does that?
Oh, if Leah captured that, I'll second it.
With a not
Okay.
to exceed.
We're not approving the budget here.
Right.
I
Okay,
don't
so we
know
Leave
if,
it up to them.
yeah, I'd say leave it up to them because we saw an amount not to exceed 500,000 last month at this committee. Now Garrett's telling us one of the biggest components of that 500,000 was that Gradall. What I remembered, it was either 120 or 150.
It was 150.
So now that has come out. So should it be 500,000? That still gives you some flexibility in there, or should it be 400,000? Go back and look at that information, because as long as you have, whatever you think plus your cushion in there, if it's a lower number, the board is then more likely to, yeah, okay, go on this.
Okay.
So, and with that, there's been a motion.
I had seconded it.
It's been seconded. Yeah.
Bob Russ,
Yes.
Marge Smalley,
Yes.
Greg Rao,
Yes.
Francis Cleveland,
Yes,
and Bill Grayson.
Yes.
The motion has passed.
Okay. And I didn't want to add this caveat to it, but it's my hope that the questions that we're asking on the site safety plan are further developed before this comes to the board, and the questions that we're asking on the negative declaration and the timing of being able to do that is further developed before this comes back to the board.
Yeah.
So you've got
Yeah,
another,
looks forward to,
yeah, you've
responding
got
to all
another,
questions.
what, 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the next board meeting after this one tomorrow.
correct,
Yeah.
I think it's 3 weeks.
Okay,
3 weeks.
Yeah, because it's the 23rd, 30th, and the meeting's on the 7th.
yeah. So you got 3 weeks to further
Yeah,
develop this and maybe bring a cost on a second helicopter company,
yes, we will bring that.
those kinds of things. Okay,
Thank you for
All
your
right.
comments.
okay. All right, I think the last item from my recollection was to put on the agenda was future agenda items.
Correct.
And you reduced this from the last one that we saw. I didn't go back and pull up the last one, but right now we've got next meeting on the electrical power consumption aspects or evaluation that we could.
It seemed that the committee wanted to discuss power usage and analysis.
Right.
So we suggested that might be a good topic for the May meeting.
Yes. Agreed.
Okay, is there any other topics that we're interested in for June or July? We can revisit it at the May meeting.
Okay. I would like to see what's been described to me before as a water loss audit. How much this is what we produce. This is what we get revenue for. What's this delta? And where is all of this non-revenue water? Is it hydrant flushing? Is it leaks? Is it just to have some sense of where non-revenue water
Yeah.
is going?
Enlarged meter calibration.
That's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
We're back working towards testing meters.
Right, that's
So the large
also,
part of this is the meter inaccuracy, and we don't really have that data. Well, I can tell you a lot of it, but
you've got a preliminary guess on what that is on a percent, but you'd like to have more meters tested, but bring us this kind of information at a subsequent meeting, because it's something that I've wanted to hear for about 4 years, but hasn't been able to happen. So now that I have somebody who's interested in being able to do that,
we can do it. Yeah.
makes it, okay,
It'll improve over time, but yeah, we can get it from,
that's
we can get
okay.
a start. Yeah.
That's okay. Give us a preliminary, give us a draft, give us a structure of it. And I think you can see from the level of questions that you're getting on other things here, you're going to get a fair number of questions, and hopefully some of the questions then trigger, oh, okay, yeah, we should put that in there too. Yeah. Okay,
And I could add to that.
sure.
Okay. One thing I think that, and you've started to address this, Jesse, but it would be great to even just take a first cut at where are the costs through the whole supply chain of our water, right? From how much does it cost per acre foot to pump water up from a well at different locations, and then surface water, how much is it an acre foot? How much is it to treat it? How much is it to pump it up to our highest pressure zone? Because I have a feeling there's a lot of variety there.
So we've started with just our sources, like
Right.
Q3 2025. We actually, we have that data now, and we're gonna
Okay,
Good.
coming up in the operations report in a month or so, you'll see some of that, but
outstanding.
that will, really what we're just looking at with that for each source is the power and chemicals used. That's the variable production cost that's used. We haven't got into individual booster stations, we have 30 something, so that
Right.
we're
That would
focusing
be-
on that, and then,
On the bigger picture of it.
yeah, but
Okay. I think that is great. And I think that that's a different month's
Yeah, follow on. Yeah.
agenda item.
Yeah.
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 I think that the water loss audit should be more, straightforward or easily simple. This other power or,
Mhm.
Or,
Yeah,
economic analysis,
yeah,
marginal cost analysis.
okay, is gonna be much more work to develop.
it's just
Even a
the
preliminary.
challenge is aligning the PG&E cost to
That's,
when we pumped it.
hey,
Kind of-
Yeah, that
We're
I
trying
think
to,
is,
we need to get some type of mechanism
why
that
we
lines
do-
those up a little bit.
that's why we have a smart person managing operations now to be able to put all of this kind of stuff together, Jesse.
That's right.
Good.
Fortunately, he didn't ask for who's that?
Right.
Thanks.
Okay. So you got two items there.
Could I float a possible third?
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
Because I think operations and situational awareness is critical. So if something breaks, what's the response time? How do you know that whatever it is has broken?
Mhm.
And it usually comes down to how the SCADA system is set up, how that's working. And so I think just from a general interest, you could help us better understand how you manage the situational awareness for the operations of the system. And those measurement systems or the SCADA kinds of systems, I know that, things grow out of date because
Yeah.
technology changes.
No, we have
So-
staff that looks at SCADA twice a day. We have our whole crew looks at
Yeah.
SCADA twice a day, and periodically they'll recognize leaks just from a tank level trend.
Yeah.
But a large level, when we're just customers calling it in, that's our biggest
Yeah.
alarm system. They're just our
Yeah,
customers.
there might be some AI tools that would work for that too, rather than a pair of eyes saying, oh, that's different from what it looked like a week ago or a day ago.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's some actual machine types of analysis
Yeah.
that could be incorporated. Something worth talking about.
Okay. Anything else? to bring
Well, I
up?
think the only thing I'd do is second the whole issue of situational awareness. Because I think that over time, particularly if you start looking at the SCADA systems and incorporating customer calls as well, as to what they're seeing, will really help you get a handle on the costs of the running the whole system. And of course, things are changing and AI is useful or could be useful. So a lot of that is something that, you know, we're sort of running to try to keep up, you know, kind of like Alice in Wonderland, trying to run as fast as we can just to stay where we are.
Okay.
One other thing, sorry, this is almost
You only
brainstorming.
get, you only get
Go for it.
one. Great. Go ahead.
So, I have an app on my phone that's called Report It, and it's for PG&E issues. So, and I use it a lot because I ride a bike and I'm riding down the street and I see something, you know, big branch hanging on the overhead primary.
Yeah.
So I take a picture of it. I take a picture of the nearest pole that has a number, and I just add it into the PG&E app that's called Report It. And then they acknowledge when my report is submitted, saying, "Oh, okay, thanks." And I'm not suggesting that the water district needs a reported kind of an app, because houses aren't going to burn. Well, I won't go there. But in any event, I'm just wondering if, because you do depend on customers at times to identify issues, is there kind of a nice streamlined way for that happening, or are customers generally aware? I know having the PG&E Reported app made me more sensitive to looking for out of bound kinds of issues that I want PG&E to know about.
We do have a portal online called Report a Problem. And
Okay.
I would say it's used, it's not as frequent as we like, but it is used. You know, it doesn't, maybe we could do a better job
Maybe
highlighting
there's
it.
a way to improve that.
Yeah, I think we can highlight it a little bit more. So.
Right, right.
Okay. I like that idea.
I had personally called in
Right.
problems I've observed and spoken to somebody immediately and gotten not addressed, but
Right.
sort of in the pipeline.
Right. Right.
We
Just
are
with phone calls.
24/7. We have a guy
Yeah.
on call constantly. So you call that number, that becomes, you have a problem, that becomes a
Right.
work order.
Right.
You know,
Cool.
but there's also a portal online that, you know, doesn't, you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be emergency necessarily.
Yeah.
You
You
could
just
just
need to advertise it every so often.
Yeah.
Remind
Yeah.
the public that this doesn't exist.
Nancy, how many out of our 7,900 meters, how many of those can report leaks?
about half of them.
Half.
About half, give or take. I think it's about 51% based on my last.
Okay,
So since we've been doing the Ben Lomond meter change out, it's probably getting closer to 60%,
okay,
about 55, 60%.
all right. And I mean, maybe, is there a plan or a time frame for when we might be 100%?
No, there's not, but we're in the middle of a meter change out program, grant funded. We're doing 450 meters in Ben Lomond, and
Okay,
we're currently trying to get Chris
Yeah.
left more funding for meter change outs. Like we're applying for more. So
It's grant funded that we're applying for, and
Yeah.
I think probably between Chris and Jen
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
focused on grants.
And then as meters go out, we replace them. You know, when with outside of a meter change out program.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could estimate on how many we've had, how many we replaced the last 5 years, and then give you a guess from there. But you know,
Well, no, I'm just curious because it sort of, in a way, it kind of addresses some of the other questions that have come up here. Because that information obviously is reportable back here. And so as a whole system, you know, this analysis of water loss in, out, you've almost got real-time data for half of the system. Once we're, you know, close to 90, 100%, you'll be able to in real time sort of figure out, okay, what's actually going on in our distribution branches.
And that's going to help a lot with the water loss audit, because
Yep.
another big issue that's not brought up is we do our production reads on the first of every month, but the meter consumption reads are broken out throughout the month. So trying to get those to line up over a year, it's better, but you still have that month gap, and that's going to be a lot of water. So that mixed with the meter inaccuracies and then actual water loss, such as main breaks, kind of all contributes. But when people see water loss, I think they just think that's all main break water, and it's really not. So we're going to try to highlight.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I'd like to adjourn this meeting unless anybody disagrees.
We're having too much fun.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Been a good conversation. Good comments too.